Hello, my name is LoG and welcome to Quickies number 7, where I show you something that I think is cool in 5 minutes or less. Today we're going to continue talking about diminished, specifically how we can use diminished chords to connect every chord in the key. So first let's figure out our key. Let's do this in the key of C. And the chords that are in the key of C are C is 1, D minor is 2, E minor is 3, F is 4, G dominant is 5, A minor is 6, and then B minor 7 flat 5, or half diminished is 7, and then back to our 1. Very, very easy way that we can use these diminished chords to connect as we move up or down like that. And there are two ways that we can approach it. As you should know by going through my previous material talking about diminished, if you ever have a chord and you want to set it up with a diminished sound of any kind, all you need to do is start your diminished idea on that chord's 7, 2, 4, or flat 6. Because of the nature of diminished, all of those notes will be roots of the same chord and they'll all move into that chord you're trying to target in a smooth way. There's two in particular that I want to talk about today, though, that work really well when you're moving in a direction like this, moving up through a set of chords or moving down through a set of chords. So the first one we're going to look at is starting the diminished on probably the easiest spot to start it on, and that is the 7 of the chord that you're moving to. So let's say I'm playing C major and then D minor, and I want to set up the D minor. I want to play a diminished chord that prepares our ears for that D minor. What I'm going to do is play that diminished chord on D minor 7. Where is D minor 7? Back a fret. 7s are always back 1 fret from whatever chord you're considering to be the 1 chord or your main chord. So if D minor is my target chord, that's its root, its 7 is back a fret. That is where I will play my diminished chord. So I will play the diminished chord right here, which looks like this, and then I will move to the D minor. Maybe add a little melody, something like that, which is nice. Now see how this looks when we put it in context when I move C into the D minor. So watch this. C major, the 1 chord, into the diminished transition chord, and then into the D minor. Notice what you get. You get like a little chromatic movement because you're playing a 1 chord, then you're playing a diminished bass off of the 7 of the 2 chord, and then you finally play the 2 chord, right? In simple terms, all we're doing is we're playing a diminished chord in between those 2 chords. So if we're moving from a 1 to a 2, you play a 1 and then you put a diminished chord in between, and then you play the 2 chord. Why does that work? Because the note in between is the 7 of the target chord that we're shooting for, the 2 chord, aka back a fret from its root, right? So if you rather think about it like that, just move back a fret from the root of the target chord, you'll be good to go. You can do this for every single chord that exists in the key. So watch this. I'm going to hit a diminished chord leading into every chord as I play them. So here's my 1 chord. This is the diminished into the 2 chord, right? Back a fret from where I will eventually be. Diminished into 2. Watch this. Diminished into 3. Back a fret from where I will be. 3. Now watch this. This one's a little tricky because this is 3 and 4 is only up 1 fret. I will play diminished on the same note as the 3 chord. Here's our 3 chord. Diminished on the same fret, which will lead us into the 4 chord. Then diminished up a fret leads us into the 5 chord. Diminished up a fret leads us into the 6 chord. You can do this anywhere. So if I'm here, let's say 1, 2, 3, and then I play 4, 5, 6 on the next set of strings, I can do the same exact idea. 1, diminished into 2, diminished into 3. Now watch this. I'll play diminished into 4 back here, diminished into 4, diminished into 5, diminished into 6. Of course, the shapes look slightly different because we're on a different set of strings, but once you learn those shapes, super easy to play, even on the thicker strings. 4, 5, 6. 4, up a fret, diminished, leading into the 5 right there. 5, up a fret, diminished, leading into the 6 right there. Very, very common sound, used a ton in a ton of different styles of music, and it's really, really easy to do because of how easy it is to just find the 7 of whatever chord you're going to, aka back a fret, and play diminished right there, and you will always smoothly get into that next chord. So that's great. We can do that with chords. You can also do it with leads if you want to. If I'm playing like a 1 chord arpeggio, and then I want to move up to a 2 chord, I'm going to go to its 7, the 2 chord 7, which is up a fret, play diminished, then into the 2. Same thing, up to the 3, diminished leading into the 3, etc. So you could do the same exact concept with arpeggios as you could do with chords. So very nice. That tackles the problem of moving up, ascending through chords. Now what happens if we're moving backwards? Like if we're on 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, moving back like that. Well, you can pretty much do the same thing. Let's say if I'm on the 6 chord right here, and I want to move to the 5, I can of course play the 6, then look at the 5, go back a fret, play diminished, and then the 5. I could do that all the way down and that's fine. But it's actually a little bit more interesting to do this other version because we can consistently have this moving down sound. The previous one we did, where we played it all the diminished chords on the 7s of every chord we're moving to, we are constantly moving up, right? We're constantly have this like upward motion all the time. But if we move back and still use the 7s as our starting location, we're not constantly moving down. We're kind of moving down then up, down then up, down then up. But if we choose to play the diminished chord not on the 7 of our target chord, but on the 2 of our target chord, one of the other locations to play diminished, we will constantly have this moving down motion. Watch this. I'll try it from 3, 2, 1. So here's 3, 2, 1. Watch this. 3. I'm moving to the 2 chord now. The 2 chord is here, the 5th fret of the A string. Where's its 2? Where I already am on the 3. So I'm going to play diminished there and then play the 2. Watch this. 3 chord. Diminished on the 2 chords 2, which is the same fret, right? And then the 2 chord. Now I'm moving to the 1 chord, so I'm going to play diminished off of the 1 chords 2, which is where I already am, diminished, and then the 1. So watch what this sounds like. 3, diminished on the 2 of 2, 2, diminished on the 2 of 1, then 1. Notice you get that constant moving down motion that you wouldn't really get if we always used the 7s. So to put it really simply, if you're ever trying to target a particular chord, start a diminished chord on its 7 if you're moving up to that chord. But if you're moving down to that chord, start the diminished on that chord's 2, and that will constantly give you that moving down motion. So I'll kind of do both of those. Here's moving up all the way. And then I'll move all the way back down by hitting the 2s or playing the diminished on the 2s of every chord. 6 chord, right? 2 of 5, diminished, 5. 2 of 4, diminished. There's the 4. 2 of 3 is going to be not on the same note, the 4 and the 3, that's where it changes. Here's my 3, so I'm actually going to go up a fret from where I am playing the 4. Diminished right there into the 3. Diminished on the 2 of 2. Diminished on the 2 of 1, 1. So I'll do that one more time. Cool stuff you can do, and I'm adding in little extra melodies that you can kind of experiment with as you get more comfortable, but it's a really great sound. If you like this sort of this kind of flow, kind of the colors that happen with diminished, it's really, really easy to do, and you can immediately do it right now with just a handful of shapes. So to wrap up this video, I'll play a little kind of short piece demonstrating what you can do with all of these sounds. All of the chords that you're about to hear in this little short piece are going to be either chords that are straight up in the key, 100% normal chords in the key of C, same key I just played, or the diminished chords leading into the chords in a variety of different ways. There might be one other chord in there that's not in the key, but who cares? It still sounds perfectly fine. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.